It's a 29th successive victory at this level for Jannik Sinner.
Alright, let me tell you something that most tennis channels are completely sleeping on right now. While everyone is busy celebrating the number, fixated on the milestone, talking about the streak like it is some feel-good story with a bow on top, nobody is actually explaining what is happening on the court. And what is happening on the court is honestly a little frightening. Jannik Sinner just matched a record that has been sitting untouched since 2005. 29 consecutive Masters 1000 wins. A number that belonged to one man and one man only, Roger Federer, at the absolute peak of his powers, during the years when he was making world-class tennis players look like they had just picked up a racket for the first time. That is the company we are talking about. That is the altitude Sinner has just climbed to. But if you think the real story here is the number itself, you are missing everything. The number is just the headline. The actual story is something quieter, something colder, and honestly something a lot more unsettling for everyone else on the ADP tour right now. So let us go back to Rome. May 2026. The Foro Italico is absolutely buzzing. You have to understand the specific kind of pressure that exists in that stadium when an Italian player walks onto the Campo Centrale. It is not just tennis crowd energy. It is something deeper, something almost tribal. These fans have waited a long time for a homegrown champion to truly own that stage, and now they finally have one. The noise is incredible. The expectation is suffocating. And somewhere in the locker room, Sebastian Ofner is lacing up his shoes knowing he is about to walk into one of the most hostile environments in all of tennis. Meanwhile, Novak Djokovic, the man who has won everything there is to win, who has stood in the fire of 1,000 big moments, just got knocked out by a 20-year-old kid named Dino Prismic. The draw cracked wide open. The final boss everyone expected Sinner to face at the end of the tournament was already gone. And every player still left in that draw watched that result and felt something shift. Some of them felt a window opening. But most of them, if they are being honest with themselves, felt the opposite. Because if Djokovic is out and Sinner is still in, the path to the title does not get easier. It gets significantly more terrifying. Sinner walked out onto that clay and the crowd absolutely erupted. But here is the thing about Jannik Sinner that separates him from almost every other great player of his generation. He did not feed off the energy the way you might expect. He did not get pumped up, did not let the emotion of the moment pull him out of his rhythm. He did the opposite. He got quieter. He got colder. He turned that packed, screaming stadium into something that felt, at least from his side of the net, like an empty practice court. What followed was 1 hour and 31 minutes of some of the most clinical tennis you will ever see at a Masters 1000 event. And the word clinical gets used a lot in tennis commentary, but I want you to really sit with what that means when we are talking about Sinner versus Ofner in Rome. Clinical does not mean boring. Clinical means precise. Clinical means calculated. Clinical means that every single thing happening on that court is happening for a reason, and the guy holding the racket knows exactly what that reason is 3 shots before the point even gets there. Let us start with the numbers from the first set because the numbers tell a story that the highlights simply do not capture. Ofner hit twice as many aces as Sinner. If you glance at that stat in isolation, you might think the Austrian was controlling the match on serve, that he had the upper hand in the most important department. That is exactly the kind of surface-level reading that gets people confused about what is actually going on in modern tennis. Aces are exciting. Aces get replays. But aces do not tell you who is suffocating who. And in the first set of that match, Sinner was suffocating Ofner in a way that had nothing to do with serve speed and everything to do with something far more valuable. Sinner made 5 unforced errors in the entire first set. On clay. Playing against a man who was genuinely trying to attack him, genuinely swinging for his life on every forehand, trying to impose himself and take control of the points. And Sinner just absorbed it. All of it. Every big swing, every attempted winner, every moment where Ofner thought he had found the angle, Sinner was already there, already redirecting the ball back deep and heavy to exactly the place that caused the most damage. Try to imagine what that feels like from the other side. You are a professional tennis player. You have spent your entire life developing weapons, building a game that can hurt people at the highest level. You step up and you unload your best forehand, the shot you have hit 10,000 times in practice, the shot that wins you matches against top 10 players on a regular day. And the ball just comes back. Deeper than you wanted. Heavier than you expected. Aimed right at your feet so you cannot drive through it cleanly. You try again. You go bigger, take more risk, aim closer to the line. And the ball comes back again. And again. And at some point, something starts to happen inside a player's head that has nothing to do with technique or fitness or game plan. They start to feel trapped. They start to feel like nothing they do is going to be enough. And that psychological erosion, that slow collapse of belief, is exactly what Sinner is engineering from the very first game. He was winning 82% of his first serve points in that match. Not because he was serving at 200 kilometers an hour and blowing Ofner off the court, but because every first serve was landing in exactly the right spot to set up the next shot, which was landing in exactly the right spot to set up the shot after that. He is not just playing tennis. He is running a sequence. He sees the geometry of the court like a mathematician sees an equation, and he is solving it in real time while the other guy is still trying to figure out what just happened 2 shots ago. But here is where the story takes a turn that I genuinely did not expect when I sat down to break this match apart. And this is the part that I think changes everything when you look at what the rest of the 2026 season might look like for the entire ADP Tour. We know about the forehand. Everyone knows about the forehand. We know Sinner can hurt you from the back of the court with pace and spin that very few players on earth can generate. We have seen him blast winners past Alcaraz, overpower Djokovic in the long rallies, dismantle players with that relentless baseline aggression. The power is real and it is well documented. But what broke Sebastian Ofner in the second set of this match was not power. It was a single drop shot. And not just any drop shot, not a desperation flick when he was out of options, but a perfectly constructed, tactically devastating drop shot on a break point, at a crucial moment in the match, after spending an entire set and a half training Ofner's brain to expect one thing and one thing only. Think about the setup. Sinner had been pounding the baseline all match. Heavy topspin, relentless depth, every ball landing inside the last meter of the court, pushing Ofner further and further back until the Austrian was practically defending from the back fence. Ofner's whole body was calibrated for that. His weight was back. His mind was back. He was in survival mode, bracing for another heavy ball, already preparing to absorb the impact and try to redirect. And Sinner gets a break point. He steps inside the baseline. He loads up. His body language says forehand winner. Everything about the setup screams that the ball is about to be hit very hard into the corner. Ofner leans back. And then the racket head drops. Soft hands. Barely any swing. The ball floats over the net with almost nothing on it and lands in the clay like it forgot how to bounce. Ofner had no chance. He was not even moving in the right direction. And that point, that one seemingly small moment in a match that Sinner was already controlling comfortably, that was the moment the door to Ofner's competitive spirit quietly swung shut. Because think about what it communicates. It tells the opponent that there is no safe position on the court. If you stay back to handle the pace, the drop shot will destroy you. If you move up to take the drop shot away, the forehand will blow straight past you. Sinner has eliminated both options simultaneously. He has made the court feel smaller than it actually is, made the game feel harder than it has any right to be, and done it all with a lightness and a calm that somehow makes it even more unsettling to face. 2 years ago, Sinner was a big hitter who relied heavily on his physical tools. If the power game was not clicking, there were vulnerabilities. Opponents with great defensive skills could neutralize him, make him work harder, drag him into battles he did not always win. But the 2026 version of Jannik Sinner is genuinely something different. The physical tools are still there, still elite, still among the best on tour. But now there is a chess player behind those tools. There is a mind that is always 3 moves ahead, always setting traps, always building toward a moment that the opponent never saw coming. The tactical maturity you are watching right now is the kind of thing you usually only develop after years of painful losses, after getting outthought in big matches and going home to figure out why. Sinner seems to have skipped that part. Or if he went through it faster than almost anyone in the history of the sport. After the match, he spoke to the reporter on court and said something that stopped me cold when I heard it. He said that in a first match of a tournament, the most important thing is simply not to lose. He said his level would naturally improve day by day as he finds his rhythm on the clay. He was describing a match in which he made 5 unforced errors and won 82% of his first serve points as a work in progress. A warm-up. Something to knock the rust off before he gets into his real game. That is not arrogance. Arrogance would actually be easier to deal with because arrogance has cracks. Arrogance makes mistakes when the pressure spikes. What Sinner was expressing in that interview was something far more dangerous. It was an honest, accurate, self-aware assessment of exactly where his game was at, and a quiet promise that it was going to get better from there. Every player in that locker room who heard those words understood what it meant for their own chances in Rome. To put the full weight of what 29 consecutive Masters 1000 wins actually means into perspective, you have to go back to 2005. You have to picture Federer at that moment in time, gliding around the court, making every shot look like it required no effort whatsoever, turning tennis into something that looked more like art than athletics. Federer built that record with a kind of effortless grace that felt almost impossible to replicate. And for 20 years, nobody did. That record sat there like a monument to a version of the game that most people had accepted would never be matched. And then quietly, methodically, one Masters match at a time, Sinner walked right up to it. But the way he is matching Federer is telling. Federer made you feel like you were watching something beautiful even when he was destroying you. Sinner makes you feel like you are being processed. Like you are a problem being solved. There is no poetry in it, but there is something almost more impressive in its own way, because the cold machine efficiency he brings to every single match, week after week, tournament after tournament, is something the tour has genuinely never seen before at this level and at this age. He is also sitting on a 24-match winning streak for the 2026 season alone at this point in the year. He simply does not lose anymore. And the way he carries that streak is almost more remarkable than the streak itself. There is no visible weight to it. He does not seem to feel the pressure building the way other players do when they go on long runs. Usually around the 15 or 20 match mark, you start to see it in a player's body language. They get tighter. They play safer. They start protecting the streak instead of just playing tennis. Sinner looks the same on match 24 as he did on match 1. Focused. Already thinking about the next shot. Next up is Alexei Popyrin on the Campo Central. Popyrin is a serious player. He has a massive serve, a dangerous forehand, the kind of weapons that give a lot of players real trouble on this surface. And that is exactly why this next match is so interesting to watch, because we just learned in precise detail what Sinner does to players who come at him with power. He absorbs the heat. He eliminates the angles. He pushes you back until you feel like you are defending on every single point. And then, at exactly the moment you think you have figured out how to survive, he drops the ball 2 inches over the net and watches you scramble. Popyrin is going to need something different. Something he probably has not needed to use against anyone else in this tournament. He is going to need to be unpredictable in a way that disrupts Sinner's rhythm before Sinner gets the chance to establish it. And the honest reality is that very few players on tour have figured out how to do that consistently against this version of Sinner. The era we are living through in professional tennis right now is one that people are going to talk about for a very long time. Not because it is flashy or dramatic in the way that the Federer, Nadal, Djokovic era was. That era had rivalries and storylines and moments of pure theater that kept tennis fans on the edge of their seats for 2 decades. This era is different. This era is quieter. But quiet does not mean less significant. Quiet sometimes means something more final. Because when you watch Sinner walk off the court after another routine dismantling, when you listen to him speak about his own tennis with that calm, almost detached clarity, you get the feeling that you are not watching a player chasing history. You are watching a player who has already decided how the story ends and is just executing the plan one match at a time. The question for the rest of Rome, the question for the rest of this season, is not whether Sinner can be beaten. He is human. He can be beaten. The question is who on this planet has the game, the nerve, and the mental fortitude to actually do it. And right now, looking at that draw, looking at the field, looking at the state of the ADP Tour in the spring of 2026, I genuinely do not have a clean answer for you. And I think that tells you everything you need to know about where Jannik Sinner is right now.